Hey, this is Corey from Wolfpack Woodcraft, and we're going to talk about winter gear and winter preparedness because a lot of people are scared of future snowstorms, and me being in Minnesota, this is stuff that we've done my whole life, right? Ever since I was a little kid, we prepare for winter every single year, ever since I was a baby, you know? And so for me, it's not a big deal. It's common knowledge, but I know for a lot of people that have moved in the last few years, this is something that they are dealing with. And there's only really 5 things that you have to worry about. And the first one is cold weather gear. Okay, I'm not talking about winter gear, I'm talking about cold weather gear. Those are 2 completely different things. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so you go to somebody's closet who's always complaining about being cold in the winter, and you see a lot of snowflakes and snowmen and reindeer and penguins and polar bears, and you see all this cute stuff. None of that is cold weather gear. That is all winter gear, but it is not cold weather gear. So I have some examples because I know a lot of people have these little black gloves. You can usually get them for like $1. These are not cold weather gear. All right, this is winter gear. You see them all the time in the photographs and stuff. People in winter, they're nice looking gloves. What these are designed for actually is for quick running out, because most people don't actually go out into the cold, right? The coldest thing that they do is go out and start their vehicle. And so typically you're in your warm home, you run out, you start your vehicle, you run back into your warm home, and then you finish getting ready. Then you run from your warm home to your warm vehicle, and then from your warm vehicle into your work or the store or whatever, which is heated, right? So you're spending a very short amount of time in the cold. And what these gloves do is they prevent you from touching the extreme cold metal on your vehicles or the mailbox or anything that you touch. It's just a barrier so that your skin, you don't have that contact on your skin with the super cold metal of things. That's what these are for. They're not going to keep you warm. Okay, it's just a barrier so that you don't, like when you stick your tongue to a pole and it sticks because of the moisture, it instant freezes. Well, you have that same effect on your hands. Your hands have oils and they could be sweaty from whatever reason, and then you touch something and it's not good for your hands. So this helps with that. But that's it. They're not going to keep you warm. This Spider-Man mask, again, it's very, very thin. This is just a cool mask to wear in the winter. This is winter gear. This isn't cold weather gear. This is not going to keep you warm. This stocking cap, again, it's very, very thin. There's nothing about this that is cold weather. This is winter. It looks like a winter, if you're trying to look wintry, this is something you would put on, but it's not going to keep you warm. Same with these camo gloves. Yes, they're camouflage. Yes, they look cool. They're not warm. This is deceiving to most people because there are some hats that look like this that are real fur. Okay, the real fur is cold weather gear. They're extremely warm. This fake fur budget option, this is not warm. Okay, it looks the part, right? It's winter gear. It looks the part, but it's not cold weather gear. This is not going to keep you warm. This, on the other hand, is a stocking cap with a nice thick fleece fuzzy inside, and you can just tell by the thickness of this that it's way better than where'd the other one go. So this flat one, there's nothing to this one. You can barely see it on the camera, where this one is thick, it's robust. This is going to keep you warm. Even this one, my son put a Camaro sticker on it to make it look cooler, but again, it's got that fuzzy fleece on the inside. It's thick, it's warm, it's bland, it's just black, right? It's not cool. That's why my son had to put a sticker on it. Same with this one. It's just black. It's not cool. The gloves, right? Big, thick, warm gloves. These are going to keep you dry. The wind isn't going to pierce right through them. These are going to keep you warm. Now, they're going to keep you warm, right? You have to think of gloves and stocking caps and all this stuff like a thermos, right? If you have a thermos and you put something hot in the thermos, it's going to keep it hot, right? But if you put something cold in a thermos, it's going to keep it cold. All this stuff is the same as a thermos. It insulates. If you put a cold hand in this glove, it'll keep it cold, right? If you put a warm hand in this glove, it's going to keep it warm. So make sure that you're putting your gloves and your hat on before you leave the house, right? You want to make sure that your ears are warm, your hands are warm before you put your gloves and your hat on, right? I like these. The 3M Thinsulate I really like because it's not as bulky as these. And then the leather helps cut down on the wind. So these are my work gloves, but you can tell that I use them a lot. I have backup pairs so you can see the new ones compared to the old one. These ones I've used a lot. It's night and day difference. But I like the Thinsulate, and again the leather helps with the wind. Wind is something you have to pay attention to when it comes to cold weather gear, right? Boots, there are fancy boots, there's cold weather boots. I like the Muck Arctic boots. Jackets are the same way. Snow pants are the same way. You have to make sure that what you're buying is made for cold weather. A lot of stuff that's made for cold weather doesn't look cute, doesn't look fancy, isn't fashionable, it isn't form-fitting. A lot of it isn't, it doesn't look nice, but it'll keep you warm. Even these wool gloves, excuse me, these wool gloves have that same Thinsulate in them, and these work really good, but the wind does cut through these. They keep my hands really warm, but if it's really windy, the wind does cut right through these, and so they are cold weather, but they're not made for the wind. You can see these rag wool gloves compared to the Thinsulate gloves. The rag wool, both of these is thinner than one of the Thinsulate ones, and it's just because it's not made for cold weather. It's made for the winter. It's made to look wintry. It's not made for cold weather, right? So that's something I really want to emphasize: cold weather gear. The second thing I want to talk about is your vehicle, okay? So the second thing, when it comes to your vehicle, winter kills vehicles, all right? Anything that you have going on inside your vehicle, the winter is going to make it worse. So if your battery is a little dead, the cold weather is going to kill it. If your alternator isn't quite as strong as it used to be, the cold weather is going to kill it. If your tires are going out, if they're bald-ish, the ice, you're going to slide all over the place on the ice. If your brakes are, they got a little bit of life in them, you're not going to stop in time. You're going to crash. You're going to end up in a ditch. You're going to end up rolled over. If your ball joints are going out, the winter's going to kill them. It's just, when you have moving parts and they're frozen, they don't want to move. They don't want to do what they're supposed to do. When you have liquid-filled batteries or electronic devices, the cold just, the cold wires, the cold moving parts, the cold everything, it just destroys it. Any slight weakness, the cold is just gonna end it. And so make sure that you're taking care of your vehicle. There's a lot of people out there that when their vehicle starts squeaking or rattling or making any kind of noise, they just turn the radio up so they don't have to hear it. Before winter comes, or even right now, make sure you're turning that radio off and listening for the squeaks and the rumbles and the different noises to make sure that you're taking care of that stuff before you're stranded on the end of on the road somewhere, right? You don't want your battery to die. You don't want your alternator to go out. You don't want to be stranded in the cold. You also don't want to be sliding around on ice. You don't want to run into somebody. You don't want to end up in a ditch. You don't want to end up rolled over. So make sure you're taking care of your vehicle and that everything is working the way it's intended to work. And that will be your best defense against being stranded in your vehicle. The third thing is your house. Just like your vehicle, the cold destroys things. Your house is the same way. Excuse me. When it comes to your plumbing, you don't want your pipes to freeze. When it comes to electrical, when it comes to weather sealing, when it comes to windows and different things, you want to make sure that everything is well insulated, everything is weather stripped, and everything is sealed up the best that it can be. You don't want to be wasting your electric bill on a cold draft coming from your back door, your front door, your windows. Make sure you're sealing everything up. Make sure everything's running properly. Make sure all your electrical is running properly, your plumbing's working properly, your furnace is working properly. Because in the winter, again, what can go wrong will go wrong. It's almost guaranteed. If your furnace isn't quite, if there's a knock in your furnace is going to go out during a snowstorm, right? When everything is shut down, when the roads are closed, that's when it's going to go out. And then you're just stuck living with it. If your plumbing, if there's issues with your plumbing and something's not draining properly, next snowstorm, right? When it's negative 40 degrees out and everything's closed and everybody's gone home, that's when everything's going to back up and you're not going to have plumbing anymore, right? Your toilet is leaking, snowstorm, that's going to be a problem. Your washer leaks a little bit. During a snowstorm, that's when it's going to go out, right? And so make sure that you're taking care of all these problems inside your house. Make sure that everything's running the way it's supposed to run. Make sure nothing's leaking, nothing's making noises that it shouldn't be making. Just maintaining everything you have inside your house guarantees that when there is a snowstorm, you can have a lazy snow day instead of dealing with some issue, right? The fourth thing is food and water, right? If all the stores are closed because the roads are closed because of the snow, if we get 4 feet of snow, the roads are closed. If it's negative 40 degrees, some places just will tell people to stay home and they'll just close up. So again, no Walmart, no gas station, no nothing. So even if you can leave your house, there's nowhere to go because everything is closed down, right? And so make sure you have food and water. Excuse me, I'm getting over a flu, but food doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can literally be frozen pizzas, ramen noodles, mac and cheese, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, ham and cheese sandwiches. It doesn't have to be this gourmet meal. You don't have to be a top chef to cook something, right? It can be hungry man meals that you throw in the microwave, right? You just need to be able to eat. If you're snowed in for an entire weekend, you need to have lunch and dinner and for multiple days, right? You have to have them on hand. And warm meals in the winter are always the best. And so ramen noodles, mac and cheese, pizza, the warm meals usually make you feel a lot better. And so make sure that you have food and water because, again, you're not going to be able to run to the gas station quick. You're not going to be able to run to the grocery store. There's a lot of times where the storms come in and everything's shut down and you're stuck with what you have inside your home. So make sure that you have what you need inside your home. The fifth and final thing is heat. All right, you need to be able to heat your home. So if you're on electric, you really don't have much to worry about. Just make sure your electric bill is paid in full and everything's kosher there. They can't shut your heat off anyway, and so you should be good. LP, so I have a furnace and an LP tank. I try to make sure that that thing doesn't go below 40%. Once it hits 40%, I'm on the phone with them saying, hey, I need to fill up because, again, you never know, right? There could be a snowstorm. We could be stuck at home for a few days, and I want to make sure that I don't run out of LP, right? My hot water tank and my furnace run on LP, and I don't want to run the risk of even running low, right? And so I try to keep that topped off. The furnace needs to be maintained. You need to make sure that your furnace is working properly because even if you have LP, if your furnace or your heating units aren't working, you don't have heat. So make sure you're paying attention to your heating units, make sure you're paying attention to your LP, make sure you're paying attention to how everything is running and that you have the resources to keep them running. Also, in case of a power outage, you still need to heat your home. You still need some kind of heat. And so whether that's propane, those little green propane tanks with the Mr. Buddy heaters, or electric options, well, electric won't work in a power outage, I guess. But if your LP runs out and your furnace stops working, switching over to electrical is a good idea. Having electrical options in case your furnace or your LP runs out. Having Mr. Buddy heaters for if the power goes out. You just need multiple options, okay? You need to make sure that Plan A is maintained and working properly, and you also need to have a Plan B, and you need to make sure that you have everything you need for Plan B. Whether it's because you ran out of propane or LP in your big tank, whether it's because your furnace broke down, whether it's because the power went out, you still need to be able to heat your home, you still need to be able to cook your food, and so make sure you have what you need now so that you're not trying to figure out how to get it later. So, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully these tips helped you, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.